All right, so for today, before we get started, I want to start with our week 6 code word for this week. So if you guys are in the live meeting for today, or if you have attended a different live meeting earlier this week, you do not have to send me this code word. This is only for people that do not actually join the live meetings. So if you're watching this meeting at a later time on your own, then you would send me the week 6 code word. This one's actually not even a word. This one's just going to be, I want you guys to tell me like a random fact about you. So I'm just going to write random fact. Okay. So even the people that are in my meeting, you guys can also do this too, because I want to learn about you guys. Just send me a message with a random fact about you. Tell me your favorite color, like something about your pet, how many siblings you have. If you have any siblings, just tell me a random thing about you. What color eyes you have. I don't care. Tell me something just so I can learn a little bit more about you guys. And I even want to hear from the people that are in my meetings too. You guys don't have to do it if you're in my meeting, but I still would like to learn about you guys as well. Okay, so that's my week 6 code word. Just tell me something random about you or something interesting about you. And that is it. So let's go on to today. First thing you were supposed to do for your kickoff was it was EOC review number 3, doing the top half of it, so numbers 1 through 4. And I've got my answers up here. They're actually all the same answer, 3, 2. So go ahead and check your answers. And we actually did this, I think it was 3rd quarter. Pretty sure I taught this to you guys for systems of equations when we first got together in January. So I know we have covered this topic, but if you guys have questions, you can type it in the chat now, or you can send me a message later and I can work with you on this to answer those questions and show you the steps on how to find your answer. But just remember, for the algebra EOC review, you hold on to everything until the end of the quarter, and then I will give you a place to submit all of your work so you can get your credit, because it's a big part of your grade. Do you guys have any questions on the review for today? Would you like me to go over any? Or is everyone good? Okay. All right, so I'm going to get onto our notes then. So our notes for today, it's going to be on box plots. We're going to be taking these notes over the course of 2 days. We're going to start some of it today and then finish the rest of it tomorrow. And it is a total of 3 pages, I think. It's a couple of pages. So we're going to do about like a page and a half today, and then we'll do the other page and a half tomorrow. So it is kind of a lot for today. I'm hoping tomorrow we can kind of go a little bit faster with it. So just stay with me. Ask me questions if you have any. Well, let's go ahead and get started on this. So what we're covering for today is going to be on the box and whisker plot, which a visual, this is kind of what it looks like right here. You've got your box, and then you have your whiskers. You can think of like a cat. It's got like whiskers. Those are your whiskers. So I kind of drew like more whiskers, but you really only need 1 whisker on each side. So your box and your whiskers. So that is a way to display data on a number line by organizing it into 4 sections. And your 4 sections, here's 1 section, here's another, and another. So there's your 4 sections when you're organizing for the box and whisker plot. And a little interesting thing about this is each section is going to be 25%, 25%, 25%, and 25%. That's going to help you with answering some questions later. But each little section is worth 25%. Okay, and then with the box and whisker plot, you're going to be able to identify your 5-number summary. And those are the values used to create the box and whisker plot. So first one, that's all the way to the left, this very first dot, if you read it from left to right. The first one all the way to the left, that would be your minimum value. That's your smallest value. And then the next dot would be your lower quartile, or another way to write this is just LQ. That's another way you'll see it written there, LQ, lower quartile. That's the median of the lower half, or the middle of the lower half. And then you have your median, that's your middle value. You need to make sure you have it in small to large order. And then your upper quartile, another way you will see this written is UQ, upper quartile, UQ. That is the median of the upper half, the middle of the upper half, and then you have your maximum value, which is the largest value. That's the last dot. Okay. And then we have our quartiles. That is the 4 sections that make up the box plot. Each quartile represents 25% of the data, which I kind of showed you that up top already here. Each section is 25% of the data. And then your interquartile range, another way you'll see this is IQR, interquartile range, or IQR. That is the range between the lower and upper quartile, or it's the length of the box. Okay. So let's go ahead and do a couple of examples together for drawing a box and whisker plot. So we've got number 1 here. I'll zoom in so we can see a little bit better. Number 1, it says, the resting heart rates and beats per minute, BPM, of a group of people are given below. Find the 5-number summary, draw the box and whisker plot, then answer the questions that follow. So it's asking us to do a couple of things here. First, we need to find the 5-number summary. That's all of this here. And then we're going to draw it. We'll draw it here. And then we're going to answer those questions below, right underneath it. So first thing I did is we have all of our numbers here. I put them in order from smallest to biggest. And I did that ahead of time because it kind of takes a little bit of time to do that. And I didn't want to spend a bunch of time putting it in order. I know you guys know how to put your numbers from least to greatest, so I just did that ahead of time. But I put it from smallest to biggest numbers in order like that. And then let's go through and identify our 5-number summary. Our minimum, that's going to be your smallest value. Okay, so that's going to be the number that's furthest to the left, and for this one, it's 50. And then if you want, you can go straight to your maximum. That's going to be your largest value, which for this one is 92. So sometimes it's easier just to do your minimum and maximum first. Those are going to be your smallest and biggest numbers. And you can fill these out in any order that you want. I recommend doing the easiest and then working your way to, like, I guess, the hardest. Okay, the next one I recommend finding is your median. Your median is the middle number, or the middle value. Okay, so we need to figure out what number is in the middle. Once you cut this in half, your median falls right in between 64 and 68. This is your median. Okay, and since it's in between those two there, in order to find your median, we did this yesterday. If it doesn't give you an exact number, what you need to do is figure out what's the median of those two numbers, the average or the mean of those two numbers. So you add them together, 64 plus 68, and then divide by 2. So then you would get 66. So that is your median, 66, which was in between the 64 and 68. And then our lower quartile, that's going to be the median of the lower half. So here's my lower half. And then here's my upper half. Okay, so lower and upper. So now we're going to find our median of the lower half. The median of the lower half, it falls right in between 58 and 60. We need to figure out what numbers in between 58 and 60. This is going to be our lower quartile. Lower quartile, or I'm going to write LQ. You add those two numbers together, 58 and 60, and then divide by 2. So then we get 59. So that's our lower quartile, 59. And then our upper quartile, or UQ, we're going to look at our upper half, and we're going to find our median, which for this one, it falls right in between 72 and 76, our upper quartile, UQ. You add those two numbers together, 72 plus 76, then divide by 2. So then we get 74. Okay, so we've got all of our 5 number summary, 50, 59, 66, 74, and 92. Now let's go ahead and draw the box and whisker plot. This is probably the easier part of this question. Let's go ahead and put dots at all of these numbers here, 50, 59, 66, 74, and 92. And I've actually already labeled the number line for you down here as well, because when you guys go to take the Algebra EOC, most likely it'll already be numbered for you. So I didn't want to spend the time with figuring out how we're going to number it. So my first dot is at 50. And when you're doing these dots, you don't want to put it on the number line. You want to put it above the number line. So it's floating above. So I put a dot at 50. And then our next one is 59. So I'm going to try my best to put it at the 59. And then my next one, the median. So I did this one, then I have 66. Here's 66. I did this one, then I have 74. 74. And the last one is 92. Just try your best to kind of get it in there as best you can. Okay? And then we're going to draw the box and whisker plot. You're going to go from your outside dots, and you're going to draw a straight line in to the middle. So your outside dots, straight line into the first dot inside. And then your 3 dots in the middle, you're going to draw, whoops, my thing got messed up there. Draw a line going through it, through it, through it. And then this is where you draw your box for the 3 dots in the middle. There's our box. And we've got our whiskers. For our whole thing, that is all of our box and whisker plot. We first did our 5 dots. We drew lines coming in from the outside dots, and then we did the box with the 3 dots in the middle. Okay, and then our last part here says, then answer the questions that follow. So I'm going to scroll down here. I'm going to zoom out so we can see better. And we're going to answer these questions here, A through F. Our first one, A, it says, what is the range? This is what we did yesterday. This is where you take your largest number minus the smallest number, or you could say 92 minus 50. And then 92 minus 50 is 42. So there's our range. And then next one is B. What is the interquartile range, or the IQR? And remember, that is your it is the range between the lower and upper quartile, or the length of the box. Or you can just look at your upper quartile, which is 74, minus the lower quartile, which is, whoops, I didn't write the 4, 74, and then minus the lower quartile, which is 59. Subtract 74 minus 59 equals 15. Okay, so that one's done. Next question, C. What percent have a resting heart rate less than 66 beats per minute? Okay, so remember, we said each section is 25%. Here's a section, there's a section, here's a section, there's a section. And each little circle, each little section is only 25%. So we need to look at what is less than 66%. So going from here and all the way over to the left. Okay, how many sections are in that less than 66%? We have 2 sections. So we're going to do the 2 times the 25%. So then we get 50%. Okay, because 2 of those sections are less than 66%. One section is 25%, but we have 2 sections. So the 25 plus 25, or you can say 25 times 2, to get that 50% are less than 66 beats per minute. Our next one, D. What percent have a resting heart rate of no more than 74%? So another way to write this is just to say less than 74%. So if here is, let me use a different color. I'll use red. So here is the 74%. How many sections are less than 74%. 1, 2, 3, or 4 sections are less than, 74 beats per minute. How many of those circles, those bubbles, fall to the left of that dot, that red line? So we have one bubble here, one bubble here, and then one bubble there. Or 3 sections. Perfect. I see 3 sections. So if one section is 25%, but we have 3 of them that are to the left, how much, or what is the percent that have a resting heart rate of no more than 74 beats per minute? What percent would I say? 25%, 50%, 75%, or 100%? Remember, each section is 25%. And we have 3 of them to the left. So you do 25 times 3, or you could say 25 plus 25 plus 25. And then we get our 75%. Okay, let me go ahead and erase this. Next one, E. It says, what percent have a resting heart rate between 50 and 59? So let's look here. We're going to look between 50, which is here, and 59, which is here. Okay, what percent would I say? Remember, this is one section, one section, one section, and then, whoops, let me fix this here. And that's another section. What percent is in between 50 to 59? 25%, 50%, 75%, or 100%? We're looking in between my 2 arrows. And you can type that in the chat, or you can turn your microphone on. Remember, each little bubble or circle is 25%, and we only have one circle or bubble falling in between the 50 and 59. So yes, correct, 25%. That would be our answer here for letter E. We got 25% that fall between 50 and 59 beats per minute. Okay, let's look at our last one, F. What percent have a resting heart rate between 66 and 92? Let's see. We're going to look for 66, which is about here. And then 92, which is about here. You're going to look and see we've got 2 bubbles or 2 sections. One section is 25%. So that means if we have 2 sections, 25 plus 25, or 25 times 2, is 50%. Okay? So that is all of your questions. I know it's kind of a lot, and I know I did most of it, but let's go on to and do some more questions where you guys kind of help me with answering these questions. I'll go on to page 2. And we're pretty much doing the same thing. Directions: draw the box and whisker plot, give the 5-number summary. And actually, these ones don't even have questions, so this one's going to be probably a little bit easier. So this is what we really want to focus on for today. Let's go ahead and identify our super important pieces of information here. Let's first find the minimum. Remember, minimum is the smallest value. What is my smallest value? I'll zoom in so you guys can see a little bit better here. For number 2, we're looking at number 2. My smallest value is 0. Perfect. What's my largest value or my maximum? So I see a 12. So I know on my number line it has a 12, but when you're filling out your 5-number summary, you only want to look at the information, the numbers that they gave you. So you're going to look at all of these numbers. I actually reordered them from least to greatest, smallest to biggest. You're only going to look at those numbers, okay? And from those numbers, our biggest number or our maximum is 11. Perfect. Good job. So there's 11. Now let's go on to the other ones where we have to do a little bit more work. Next, I recommend finding your median. That's the middle number. So you can see we have, there's how many? There's 10. So if we were to cross off 1, 2, 3, let's cross off 1, 2, 3, and then cross off 1, cross off 1. You can see 7 and 7 fall in the middle, or it's in between 7 and 7, but they're both the same number. So then there, your median is 7. Okay, I'm going to erase this here. And then from there, we're going to split it in half. Here's my lower half. Here's my upper half. Lower and upper. What is my lower quartile, or what is the median of the lower half? What is the median for the lower section, the middle numbers? 0, 2, 4, 6, or 7? What's my lower quartile? I see 4. You can even cross these off as well. Cross off the 0, cross off the 7, and then we'll cross off the 2, cross off the 6. You can see the median here, or the lower quartile, is 4. Okay, let's do our last one, the upper quartile, the median of the upper half. What is my upper quartile, or UQ? I see 9 or 10. Well, it's only going to be one number. So you can cross them off. Cross off one from the left, one from the right. Cross off more until you get one number in the middle. This one, you'll end up with one perfect number in the middle there. So you're only really left with 7, 9, or 10. What's your median of the upper half, or the upper quartile? Cross that off here, cross it off there. So that means our median of the upper half, or the upper quartile, UQ, is 9. Okay. From there, we're going to draw our box and whisker plot. I'm just going to go through and put dots at all of those points. I'm not going to put it on the number line. We're going to let it float a little bit above. So I'll do my first dot at 0. And then my next one is 4. So I did 0, 4, and then I'm going to do 7. And then 9. And last one is 11. Okay. You're going to look at your outside dots. Now we're going to draw our box and whisker. For my outside dot, draw a line straight in. Outside dot, line straight in. And then your 3 boxes in the middle, you're going to draw a vertical line, or a straight line up and down, passing through those points, the 3 dots in the middle. And then you're going to make your box. So there's our box, and we have our whiskers. And then that is pretty much it. We've got our box here, box, whoops, and our whiskers. Okay, so number 2 is done. Let's do one more question. Let's finish on number 3. Okay, so we have the speed of 9 cars on the highway, and we've got all of our numbers here in a random order. I already put them in smallest to biggest because I know you guys know how to do that. I didn't want to take too much time with that, so I put them in order from smallest to biggest, and then I already ordered the number line. So go ahead and help me out. What is my minimum value from my data that they gave me? What's the minimum? And you can type it in the chat, or you can turn your microphone on. Remember, minimum is the smallest value. 54, perfect. Whoops. Yep, so we got 54. And then what is my maximum? Remember, my maximum is the largest value. That's going to be our biggest number, which is 80. Perfect. Now let's find our median. That's going to be our next one. That's our middle number. So you can cross them off. Cross off 1, 2, cross off 1, 2, cross off, let's do 1, 2, cross off 1, 2. So then you can see our median, M-E-D, median is 65. So median is 65. And then we've got our two separate halves. We've got over here, this side and this side. We're going to find our lower quartile, which for this one, it falls right in between the 58 and 62. Our lower, if we were to add those two together, 58 plus 62, and then divide by 2, we get 60. And then we've got our upper. What two numbers are splitting the middle for my upper quartile? What two numbers fall in the middle? Because we don't have one number that falls there perfectly. We have two numbers that are kind of in the middle. So we have 67, 70, 77, and 80. Which two numbers are closest to the middle for the upper section? And you can type it in the chat or you can turn your microphone on. So if I were to cross off 1 from the left, cross off 1 from the right, you can see the two numbers closest to the middle are 70 and 77. So that means our upper quartile, or UQ, falls in between the 70 and 77. So since we're splitting it with two different numbers, add those numbers together, 70 plus 77, and then divide by 2. So then we get 73.5. So that's our upper quartile, or UQ, 73.5. Okay, so we have our 5 pieces of information. Let's go ahead and draw our dots. First dot at 54. Here's 54. And then next is 60. And it doesn't need to be perfect. Just try your best with drawing your dots. Then we have 65. Next is 73.5. And last one is 80. So I did all of my dots there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 5 dots. Draw your straight line in from outside dot to the first dot. Draw a vertical line up and down, passing through the middle 3 dots, and then turn it into a box. So then we've got our box and our whiskers. Okay, so that's pretty much it for today. I know there is one more question, number 4. Go ahead and try number 4 on your own for today, and then you can check your answers, check your work on Schoology. And then we will finish the rest of these notes tomorrow. We'll have another meeting tomorrow at 9 to do the rest of this page and our last page 3. So if you have any questions, you can type them in the chat now for me, or you can send me a message later. Just make sure that before you leave, you say something in the chat so you can get your credit. And if you are all good, you have no questions, you've said something in the chat, then you can go ahead and leave. You can sign off, and then I will meet with you guys again tomorrow. So if you're leaving, bye guys, have a good day.